Good evening from the Remuera Bowling Club here in Auckland, where we've got the final of the World Indoor Pairs qualifying event, where we've got Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney up against Neil Fisher and Steve Cox. Earlier in this semi-final, we saw Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney defeat Linda Ralph and Rob Ashton, and of course Neil Fisher and Steve Cox defeated Lindsay Gilmore and in their semi-final against Brian Wilson of North Harbour. So here we're into the final now. The playing out of the first end. Mike Bradshaw, of course, leading for Danny Delaney, runner-up in the Somerset National Pairs earlier on this year. Steve Cox was the hood on, looking like some sort of medieval film actor with the hoodie, etc. on. So now here's Delaney playing his second bowl on this, the first end. Remember, seven end sets that they play. And here's the Delaney bowl drawing in towards the jack now. And still one, the bowl of Neil Fisher sitting in front of the jack, still sitting the shot. So there's the Steve Cox just asking Neil Fisher, which is the best hand to play. So here's Cox now on the backhand. He's playing here at Remuera and their covered complex they've got out on the, which used to be one of the front greens here, road greens. Now been covered in. Here's Delaney again. Of course, Delaney represented New Zealand 2010, the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. And as far as the carpet is concerned, in 2009, a good bowl here. Delaney has this, draws in towards the jack, it falls, must be close to shot. Cox now play up on that forehand, I would say, looking to search that bowl through the head, obviously thinking that it's shot, trying to get to the Delaney bowl. He's close to it and tips it through the head. Well played by Steve Cox. Mike Bradshaw and having a look, just seeing that whether it's one or two, taking one out. The Neil Fisher bowl has been taken out. Now the measure going to the Danny Delaney bowl behind the head. Mike Bradshaw quite adamant it was only the one shot. Bradshaw and Delaney play out of the Royal Oak Club here in Auckland. So now go to the yellowy coloured bowl, which is the Steve Cox bowl. Well, it looks like two. See what Mike Bradshaw has to say. Oh, he's just not moving, so he's accepting that two down as he finishes his coffee. So the first end gone, and it was a 2 to Steve Cox and Neil Fisher. It's the Remuera Club, and just off the motorway here at Market Road, formed in 1895. 126 years this iconic club has been going, and of course was headquarters here for the national championships way back in 1965. And of course it's been the home of international matches as well. Remember New Zealand playing England here, the great David Bryant playing here on the front green at Remuera. So here's the first bowl of Neil Fisher's on this, the second end. First bowl at Fisher's maybe about a metre short. Mike Bradshaw teamed up earlier on this year in the national Somerset National Pairs with John Carruthers. They got beaten in the final of those pairs, beaten by Lance Pascoe and Jamie Hill. And this first bowl of Bradshaw's just coming in behind the jack, sitting right virtually on the centre line. a couple of feet behind the jack. Of course, the winner of this match will qualify to go to Dunedin in September, where they will play for the New Zealand finals. We'll be bringing you those games live as well, all of those finals. And of course, the winner of this, the final of the pairs, will make their way then to the UK later in the year to Potters in England, where they will play in the World Indoor Pairs. And tomorrow we've got the World Qualifying Singles, and the same there. The winner of the event here will make their way to Dunedin and trying to win their way to the very, very lucrative, very lucrative World Indoor Singles, where you've got the greats like Alex Marshall and Paul Foster and those leading English players. Just need Steve Cox to learn a wee bit. Be helpful. So holding one is Bradshaw as he plays his third bowl on this, the second end, after Cox and Fisher scoring 2 shots on the first end, and this bowl of Mike Bradshaw is just going to sit in behind the Steve Cox bowl. The blue bowl just lower the jack is definitely the shot bowl. Of course, playing on this artificial carpet surface here at Remuera under lights. And earlier on, as we said, Mike Bradshaw and Dan Delaney beat Linda Ralph and Rob Ashton, and Neil Fisher and Steve Cox beat Lindsay Gilmore and Brian Wilson. So here is Cox now on his backhand, trying to reach up to the counting Bradshaw bowl. Looks to have weight going by, and does, and doesn't alter anything. So Danny Delaney from the Royal Oak Club will be endeavouring to add to the count. A big drawing bowl has Delaney, and just question the weight. The line's very good, just going by, just a metre through the head. And Cox again staying on that backhand side, endeavouring to rest the shot bowl, the Mike Bradshaw bowl, out of through the head. It's on a narrower line, and it's just going to run into the front bowl. Turned it over once. Doesn't make any difference. Just came to the Neil Fisher bowl, got one roll out of it, just rolled it towards the head. Didn't alter anything. Still one to the Delaney and Bradshaw combination. Delaney seems to have better weight with this bowl. How far is this going to run towards the jack? Sits right in behind the jack. 2 shots for sure. Cox again, come down on his back end, trying to reach through the 2 counting bowls, or turn his own bowl into the head. This looks to be narrow out of the hand. It's going to go by. So Delaney will maintain that draw line on his forehand, definitely holding 2 as we come to the end of the second of 7 ends in this first set. And again, looks to be on a fairly good line. There's this Delaney bowl. Mike Bradshaw urging on. He touches it. He makes 4. And he will have just got a touch on the jack. Moved it around the corner. And that's 4. Certainly is. Well played there by Danny Delaney. Moved the jack about 6 inches. And brought the 2 other bowls into the count to lead 4-2. So Mike Bradshaw delivering the jack in the Royal Oak jacket. Of course, you would have seen both of these players, Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney, at various stages in last year's Bowls 3-5, the televised event when they were playing for the Royal Oak Rockets. So here's Bradshaw quickly into his work on the backhand. Leading Auckland player. And going to just outside the jack, but pretty handy start, only half a metre, putting the pressure right on Fisher. Mike Bradshaw won a number of Auckland titles, so too has Neil Fisher. In fact, as has Steve Cox, and of course Danny Delaney. Mike Bradshaw, very, very experienced lead. Maybe I'd have to change hands here. He is changing hand. Doesn't want to get tangled up on that front bowl of Fisher's that ran short of the head. He was narrow on the line. So here now is Bradshaw on his forehand. Playing a 3/4 length head. Just question that line. Looks to also be on that narrower line, which Neil Fisher went as well. Head went down. He knew when he let it go that was not where he wanted it. And of course, wanting to capitalise on that good scoring end, the second end after that superb bowl from Danny Delaney. Just moving the jack around the corner for about 6 inches to turn 2 to 4. Fisher again is going to be under the line. Just depends how his weight is, and more than likely sit jack level, may well be shot, and it will be, just but definitely under the line. So Mike Bradshaw will be endeavouring to adjust that line, and he's done that. He's certainly out on the wider line this time. As this comes down towards the jack now, breaking down towards the centre line. Great adjustment from Mike Bradshaw. He's going to sit right on the jack, in fact, a toucher.
That's level, mate. Give yourself
And jack level was the call from Steve Cox. So Neil Fisher now playing his third bowl, or last bowl on the third end. And we'll finish jack level, good effort, or just jack high, good effort there from Neil Fisher, but it will be Bradshaw on the changeover. Bradshaw and Delaney definitely holding the shot, and I'm sure we'll see Danny Delaney follow the Mike Bradshaw bowl on that drawing hand. And that's Delaney playing on that forehand. A lovely draw ability here. Danny Delaney gets the bowl out on that wider draw line. He won't mind if this goes through the port and goes to the back. He won't mind that at all. Get a bowl over the head. Any jack movement. Fisher, the Fisher bowl in behind the head. Cox now trying to play up to the Delaney bowl to get a touch on it and move the jack out to the side. He's close to getting that, gets a touch and does, moves the jack right out to the side, would leave the Fisher and Cox side holding 2 shots, but a good meter for Delaney to draw the shot on the backhand is Delaney after the jack had been moved out to the side. Needs to come back towards the line now, breaking back towards the head. How's the weight going by? And let's see whether that's shot or not. Checking to see whether the bowler's in on the centre line. And Neil Fisher indicating it's still 1-2. Steve Cox and Neil Fisher. And now seeing Cox certainly on a narrower line than what Danny Delaney was. Just depends how that weight is. It looks a good bowl coming in here from Steve Cox, and is going to just draw lower the jack. I'm sure Danny Delaney will be endeavouring to make sure he gets second shot. Doesn't want to drop 3. Narrowed his line up from that second bowl. Intent on getting at least second shot, and he's going to do that because he'll sit literally on top of the shot bowl. Does so. So just the 1.
2 inches.
So Neil Fisher telling Steve Cox that he's 2 inches away from the jack. Holding 1, and certainly on a tighter line with this bowl. It'll just be the 1. It's well under the line. So it's 4-3 now. 3 ends gone of 7 in this first set, and it's Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney leading Neil Fisher and Steve Cox on 4 shots to 3. Seems quite strange that someone's out there playing with a jacket with a jumper on, a t-shirt, a hoodie over the head, but is still there in shorts. So it's just perhaps it's the top of his body, Tamara, that might feel the that may feel the cold.
hangs around the horse. Yeah, we got 2 of the first end, you got 4 of the second end. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but that's your name there. And
Yeah, I know, they just changed the name.
You said we're on the left, so you got
We got 2.
the first one.
And you got 4. And we just got
I got one.
3.
Just some confusion over the scoreboard, putting things possibly on the wrong side of the board. All okay, 4-3. And as it sits on their scoreboard, exactly the same as it sits on our score count here. So here's Mike Bradshaw now on this, the 4th end.
Steve, get away from the front of the camera. Hey, you're right in front of the...
Right.
So Neil Fisher giving camera instructions to Steve Cox. So the bowler, Mike Bradshaw's his first bowl, just brushes the jack on the way through, playing a shorter length this end. Neil Fisher trying to put Mike Bradshaw off his line. Certainly got a wider line on the draw here, has Fisher. Has it got the weight? Yes, it has. It's going to draw right to the jack and make a toucher of it. Sits right on top of the jack. So Mike Bradshaw on his backhand will try and make contact on that shot bowl to get some jack movement with a yard of weight. And makes contact, but
Not really afford to rock yours. This bowl's a foot out. You can just get round it, get the hands good.
so here now is Neil Fisher on his backhand holding the shot on his forehand, and I'm sure you'll see Mike Bradshaw elect to try and play that shot again. He's a good attempt here to add to the count.
Don't want to hit it with that much weight.
And he just heard Danny Delaney saying to Mike Bradshaw, you don't want to hit it with the same weight as you played before, just more of a draw, just to get one turn on the bowl. So here's Mike Bradshaw now, certainly on a tight line, got less weight, but definitely on a tight line. And comes short of the head, so it skips change over, and it's the Fisher and Cox combination holding the shot, with Delaney and Bradshaw leading 4 shots to 3 after 3 of the 7 ends. So Steve Cox makes his way to the mat on the forehand. So Mike Bradshaw trying to ask Danny Delaney to play the other hand, try and reach up through his own bowl, the blue bowl, get a squeeze on that. The only danger is if the jack goes out to the right hand side with a yard of weight. They're going to be... So Danny Delaney endeavouring to play the shot called by Mike Bradshaw on the draw, but he's going to be under the line, and it was a yard heavy anyway, so so 7 ends, remember, each set. This is the end 4. So that's Steve Cox now. Holding the shot.
Yeah, but if you're heavy and you connect to that and the jack comes out there,
I'm not going to be here.
I don't really like that much.
So both players, Not sure what shot to play. And Delaney endeavouring to get there on the draw. Is going to sit on the shot bowl, move the jack. And made shot of it, played the shot he wanted and got the desired result. And now holds the shot, well played by Danny Delaney. That's the shot that he liked. And really raking at the head is Cox. He's going to get contact with the outside bowl, does nothing. So Danny Delaney now on the draw, on the backhand, played a magnificent bowl with his second, and just needed to. Mike Bradshaw doing quite a bit of hand waving. Good effort though from Delaney. Turned. It was a good conversion from Danny Delaney down on the head. 5-3 now, Delaney and Bradshaw lead after 4 of the 7 ends of this first set. So, Bradshaw just going to go by, lower the jack. So Neil Fisher on this, the 15. Delaney and Bradshaw leading 5-3 on his forehand. Neil Fisher playing both North Harbour and Auckland, winner of a number of titles in both centres. Very, very proficient draw player. And going to just come up lower the jack by about 18 inches. Bradshaw now going to his forehand. Trying to get inside the Neil Fisher bowl. It's on a good line. Just got to get past this bowl of Neil Fisher's, and does so, and draws right down in front of the jack. It's the shot bowl from Mike Bradshaw. That'll be followed by Neil Fisher. Trying to draw to that Bradshaw bowl. It looks to be on a pretty good line though. It's going to lack weight. It's under the head. It's 2 bowls. These short end games, you can't really afford to play short bowls. It just opens the door up for the opposition. 7 ends. There's not much room for mistakes, and it's imperative that you lead in your side, gets you away to a good start. And on this particular end, Neil Fisher's just struggled with that weight as he watched this last bowl of Bradshaw's, trying to get past the bowls of Neil Fisher. Won't do so. Comes up short. Neil Fisher again now on his forehand. Needs to get another 2 foot of weight to get past the front bowls on this, that 5th end. There's a good attempt from Neil Fisher. Just going to go by. Went by about a metre. So Danny Delaney, we saw his ability on 2 of these ends where they've scored. Remember, they were holding in the second end. They were holding 2 shots. Trailer the jack. Delaney turned it into a 4. They were down on the last end, and Delaney played that touch draw shot to make it a shot, and he just played again. Gets a brush on the jack. Just goes by the jack. They're laying 2 shots now with the Delaney Bradshaw combination indicated by Neil Fisher. You're 2 down. So you're going to follow Delaney down on the forehand. A sensible shot for Cox to try and play on a wider line than what Danny Delaney was. So how far is this going to come back? Needs to come back a wee bit further yet. There's a good attempt from Cox. Finishes literally jack level. Still Delaney and Bradshaw holding shot. I don't think Danny Delaney will want to change his hand. Doesn't want to touch that yellow bowl of Steve Cox sitting out on that jack level side. He could roll that bowl in for shot. Here's Delaney again now on the backhand. It's a touch on the jack. That's to his advantage. Drawing in towards the jack now. Just going to go by. Just sits over the head. Falls in. Not sure it's made 2 or not. We'll wait for Neil Fisher. May indicate. 1 and a measure is the call from Neil Fisher on this, the 5th end. So you heard Neil Fisher. Land on your own yellow bowl. Follow that same bowl as you played with your first. And Steve Cox asking where his bowl is in relation to the jack, and Neil Fisher pointing out to him that it is jack level. So here's Cox now trying to draw inside his own bowl to get down to the shot bowl, but that's going to be under the head and not going to make any difference at all. Delaney will now follow that was second bowl, come past that short yellow bowl of so it's not the hand that Delaney ideally wants to play. Doesn't want to touch that yellow bowl of Steve Cox's. Could roll it in closer into the head. One and a measure. I'm sure you'll see Delaney, and he is playing, sticking to his backhand where he drew the shot with his second bowl. Breaking in towards the head now as this Delaney bowl just needs to get inside his own. Just sits outside it. So Steve Cox up having a look at the head, what he's going to play. Five ends, about this will be the completion of the 5th end in this qualifier, the PBA, Professional Bowls Association World Indoor Pairs qualifier here at the Remuera Bowling Club in Auckland. And it's our pleasure to bring you this final, and tomorrow we'll be bringing you the semi-finals and finals of the singles for the World Indoor Singles qualifier to go to Dunedin for the play in the finals. Here's Cox on the charge, trying to get to the front bowls, got his own. This could be fatal. 4. It certainly, that was always on. If he didn't get onto that bowl in the right direction, because it was a nest of Delaney and Bradshaw bowls sitting there. And Julie, that's what happened. And the jack went back, nestled on to one of the Delaney bowls. And 9-3 now. 5 ends gone in this first set, and it's Delaney and Bradshaw leading 9 shots to 3.
Oh yeah, like a milky.
Mike Bradshaw on the mat with the Royal Oak jacket on. On the forehand. Just goes in behind the jack, couple of metres behind. Neil Fisher quickly into his work, will follow the bowl of on the backhand. Looks to be on that wide side. I don't seem to come back as much on the backhand, and it's going to finish. Came back further than I thought, but still higher the jack, and plenty of room for Mike Bradshaw on that forehand side to draw close to the jack. They'll be endeavouring to score on this end. Will Bradshaw and Delaney, because that means then they won't have to play the last end of the first set. Mike Bradshaw duly obliges. Just a touch on the jack, just moves it back slightly, but also moved it closer to the Fisher bowl, but looking, could still be 1-2 Mike Bradshaw. So Neil Fisher now endeavouring to draw inside his own bowl, and it's on a good line. Just question how the weight's going to be. Needs to sit on something. Just goes by. And you remember earlier on, Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney beat Linda Ralph and Rob Ashton in one semi-final, and Neil Fisher and Steve Cox, they defeated Lindsay Gilmore and Brian Wilson in their semi-final. So here is Mike Bradshaw playing his last bowl on this, the 16. Rolls the bowl over, makes shot of it, and sits just in behind the jack. Gets a catcher in behind his Fisher now on the backhand. Trying to rest on the shot bolt or get a touch on the jack. And he's going to go through that port again. You'll see the two bowls of Neil Fisher sitting there locked right on top of one another. Delaney holding the shot. It's just the 6th end of 7 at the Remuera Bowling Club. The old clubs of Auckland, formed in 1895. So here's Delaney. He didn't like that one out of the hand. You could tell that. It's on the foot. Going to be narrow, certainly is. Just might make that line a bit.
That's not in your way.
So Neil Fisher just saying to Steve Cox, that's it's not in your way. So here's Cox now on the backhand. Trying to reach the shot bowl. We'll get a touch on the jack, coming down to the Neil Fisher bowl, and he's going to sit on the Mike Bradshaw bowl, which was third shot. Danny Delaney will be keen to get another bowl on the head now, because it certainly would favour the Fisher-Cox combination. If he was to get movement on the jack or move that shot bowl, Delaney's got a better track with this bowl as it comes towards the head. In fact, it's going to sit right on top of the counting bowl. So everything to play for here with Cox, with reaching weight up through there on the backhand to get to the bowls or the jack, certainly. And he's on track to do so as Steve Cox gets the inside of this, and he'll get the jack. Julie does so, moves it over to Fisher bowl as well, and that would be 3 shots. Just see Neil Fisher confirming that. Certainly looked like 3. Danny Delaney wouldn't have been happy with that second bowl of his, because it certainly just widened the target area up for Steve Cox to play that weighted shot and get a good result, which he duly did. There's Delaney on the charge, trying to get to the front bowl, got to the jack, and
Very good. That one's thin too.
so you can see the jack there sitting just under the number 4.
One down.
And 1 down is the call.
Right under them.
There, as you can see there Neil Fisher just put in the white marker peg where the jack's located. Great bowl from Danny Delaney. 3 down on the head, converted into 1 up. He's done that a couple of times on the second end, of course, when they scored that 4. So Steve Cox trying to draw the shot to stay in this first set. Needs to stop. needs to stop and not going to. So they're into the second set now. That's the first set now too. Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney. They're running out the winners 10 shots to 3 in the first set over Neil Fisher and Steve Cox in the final of the World Indoor Pairs Qualifier here at the Remuera Bowling Club in Auckland. Tamara and the team again doing a wonderful job to bring this live coverage to you, which we hope you're enjoying on Sky Sport Next. And we'll be here, of course, tomorrow as well.
None of those are 6 foot.
So Mike Bradshaw now, Neil Fisher, lost the mat, lost the jack. Mike Bradshaw brings the mat all the way back. Neil Fisher trying to change the length around. So here's now Neil Fisher on the backhand. And, oh, thank you, Danny. So first bowl, Neil Fisher is just going by a metre and a half over the head. Mike Bradshaw now on this, the first end of the second set, will play on his backhand. Certainly got a different line to what Neil Fisher had. And in fact, is going to finish under the line and go literally just jack level, slightly over jack level, a metre away though from the jack. Fisher again on his backhand. Changing hands. I think it's a kind of draw, and it looks like it is as well on that forehand. Don't question the weight though, still going to leave a metre for Mike Bradshaw to draw the shot. So here is Bradshaw. He'll try and just alter that line fractionally, and he has done so. Coming down towards the centre line now, and will go by 2 feet, but sits right on the centre line. Fisher now on his forehand, playing his last bowl of this, the first end of the second set. And certainly on a better line, coming down towards the centre line, and the jack now, and will draw the shot, just lower the jack by about 9 inches into. So again, Bradshaw will play his third bowl on the backhand. And again, he's brought that line in fractionally, trying to get to the jack. That movement on the jack is all in his favour. And gets the jack clean, moves it round the corner. And you may have heard Danny Delaney, great bowl mate, certainly was. You can see the 3 blue bowls there of Mike Bradshaw. He's converted them all into counting bowls. He's got a touch on the jack around the corner. So Steve Cox straight away now, 3 down on this, the first end of the second set after losing the first set, 10 shots to 3. Here's Cox now trying to get something close for the Fisher-Cox combination. Trying to get to the jack himself or the shot bowl. He's going to get the shot bowl. Well played. Turns it over. Turns it through the head. The jack sits, the yellow bowl of Fisher just sits lower the jack. Danny Delaney on the forehand. He'll endeavour to play the same sort of shot, reaching through the Neil Fisher bowl or a touch on the jack. It's on a good line. If he gets the inside of this bowl, he can get a great result. Just went by. Only just, he's only a few inches away. So Steve Cox trying to sit inside the blue bowls of the Delaney combination. Sat on top of the bolt. He'd be quite happy with that. Gives them another bowl on the head. Danny Delaney playing with more weight this time directly to the yellow bowl of Cox's. Gets a turn on it. So, indication from Neil Fisher. It's just the one, the blue bowl in front, being the second shot. Neil Fisher just saying to Steve Cox, same as your last. Definitely holding one. And going to go by is the bowler. And yeah, you shoot it one down.
That second shot, that high ball there.
So Danny Delaney playing on the conservative side, sitting and try and draw it. So here's Delaney on the forehand. Doesn't want to take any risks, trying to draw in between the second shot and the shot bowl. And Mike Bradshaw taking a keen look at this bowl, just going to fall under the bowl. Got a touch on it. Sure, it's just the one shot to Steve Cox and Neil Fisher. We'll see in a moment. I'll change that board. Delaney wasn't far away with his draw shot on the first end of the second set, 7-end second set. And of course, don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow on Sky Sport Next, bringing you the live coverage of the World Indoor Singles Qualifier, the Professional Bowls Association Qualifier here from the Remuera Bowling Club in Auckland. And we'll be bringing you semi-final and finals action tomorrow afternoon. So here's the first bowl of Neil Fisher's going to come up low of the jack. Bradshaw will go straight into the backhand. He knows he's got a metre to draw the shot. He's done that on most ends throughout this game. It's on that good line again as it comes down towards the centre line. And another good opening bowl from Mike Bradshaw. Sits right in behind the jack, about 15 inches higher the jack. Neil Fisher will follow that on his backhand. Seems to be on a wider line than what the Mike Bradshaw bowl was and is, and we'll just stay out on that wider side. Came back behind the jack. The fine line coming down on this backhand side. So Mike Bradshaw now with his second bowl going to come lower the head. They'll sit inside that bowl of Neil Fisher's.
Just that over, mate.
So again now, Neil Fisher on the backhand. Looks to be on a better line with this bowl. How's the weight? Is he going to get all the way towards the jack? May do. Close to it. Mike Bradshaw now just wanting to beat that bowl. Or a touch on the jack. On that backhand side. It's on a good line. This ball got to kick that bowl on the way through. Looked to be on a perfect line. Want to hit a seam in the carpet? Not sure, but it just certainly looked on a good arc towards the jack. It's a measure for a shot. Steve Cox, the hooded one, as he makes his way back to the mat. A hoodie, a t-shirt, a vest, a cap, and shorts. So Steve Cox now trying to rest on these blue bowls of the Delaney side, sits on one of them. And Delaney now will follow that on his backhand on this, the second end of the second set, after Delaney and Bradshaw winning the first set by 10 shots to 3. As you watch this bowl of Delaney's now, that arc towards the jack, which we've seen so often in this match. That'll be the shot. You just saw it draw past the jack. He's got that really nice draw at the finish of his bowls. Whereas Steve Cox tends to play a narrower line. I don't think this will have the weight. No, it won't. So Danny Delaney was again on his backhand. Will get the bowl out on that wider draw side, which he's duly done. Making the yellow bowl his target, and it gets inside that, the yellow bowl, he'd certainly have another shot. We're going to draw it in front. That'll count, and it will. It's 2 shots. Steve Cox now on the draw. Definitely 2 down. Danny Delaney a bowl to play. And this is playing with that, trying reaching weight. Needs a bit of luck here. Got a lot of luck, in fact, to move the jack right out to the side and be lined 3 shots. He was a bit lucky there getting that result. So here's Delaney now on the backhand after that jack's been moved, trying to draw the shot. He's played 2 good bowls so far on this end. Looks as though he's going to play another good one. He certainly is. That'll be the shot right behind the jack. Danny Delaney's draw play has certainly been right to the forefront in this match. 1-1 now after 2 of the 7 ends in this second set, after Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw won the first set by 10 shots to 3 over Neil Fisher and Steve Cox in this final of the Auckland section of the World Indoor Pairs Qualifier for the Professional Bowls Association. Of course, the winner of this event will go to Dunedin in September, where they'll be endeavouring to win their way through to the UK, to Potters, to play in the World Championship in January. Of course, last year they couldn't do so because of the COVID restrictions. Hopefully, though, this year that's behind us, and the players from around the globe will be able to converge on Potters in Sheffield and have the more global flavour to the World Bowls, the World Indoor Singles, as we watch this bowl of Neil Fisher's on this, the 3rd of 7 ends, trying to draw inside that first bowl of Mike Bradshaw's. Gets a touch on the jack on the way through. The Bradshaw bowl, though, still shot about 18 inches lower the jack. The blue bowl still shot for sure. So here's Mike Bradshaw again. He's got that wider line, which is what you need now that that jack has been moved slightly. How far is it going to come back to the centre line? Coming all the way back now to the centre line, will sit inside, and there'll be 2 shots. And the draw play of Bradshaw and Delaney has been outstanding insofar as they have taken their green right throughout and let the bowl draw towards the jack, whereas the Fisher and Cox combination have played a lot of bowls under the head, which makes it just that much harder to build a scoring head or a scoring position. So here's Bradshaw again with his 3rd bowl on this, the 3rd end. And on a good line again towards the jack. Going to get a touch on the jack, will it? Yes, it will. Sits alongside the jack. That's certainly shot. It's just if you lose your bowl outside that centre line, it becomes quite really a somewhat ineffective bowl then for your skip to try and build a head around. But this time, Neil Fisher's got out on that wider line. Will be light on weight though. Was certainly on the good arc to the jack. But the way how Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw have been there, taking their green, getting their line right, certainly made it difficult for the Cox and Fisher combination. So here now is Danny Delaney, 2010 Commonwealth Games Blackjack representative. Was winner of the Peers with Gary Lawson as well. And in 2009 went to Norfolk in the UK to play in the World Indoor Singles. So he's proficient on the carpet. Here's Cox now on his backhand, down on the head again. 1-1 in the second set, playing the third end. And again, playing that narrower line. And the danger of that with that weight, if he was to touch the jack on that line, would have just moved it closer, in fact, to the Delaney bowls. Danny Delaney now changing his hand, going to the forehand, putting some cover in. Any jack trail that the Cox and Fisher combination can get would certainly favour them. So Delaney playing on the safe side, knowing he's got the shot, and he's won the first set, putting some cover in. So here's Cox again now. Just at the delivery point, looks more of a steering of the bowl rather than a delivery of the bowl. And that's one of the reasons why your bowl will so often disappear under the head. And you'll see that Delaney gets the bowl out of his hand, delivers the bowl, so that it gets out on that wider arc. And he'll endeavour to draw around these front bowls, which he's done again. Neil Fisher, sorry, Steve Cox now needs to really get some arc into his bowl rather than that. And he's done just that, and he's certainly got a better line here where this is third bowl, trying to get to the jack, get movement on the jack, all in their favour. It's going to sit on the bowl, sits on the Delaney bowl, and may well have made shot of it. Neil Fisher going to have a look, sat clean on top, and no, still 1-2, Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw. 2-1 now after 3 ends of 7. But Steve Cox with that last bowl certainly gave himself a better chance to draw to the head rather than steer the bowl towards the head. And the good, playing on carpet, of course, it's so imperative that you get that arc on the bowl. You get in the bowl out, letting the bowl work towards the centre line, not trying to steer the bowl towards the centre line, because you'll just simply, your bowl will run away, lower the jack. So here's Bradshaw now on this, the fourth end. Remembering that Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney won the first set by 10 shots to 3. And again, here's that Bradshaw bowl on that nice arc. Might have a yard of weight on it going by, but he won't mind that. It's over the head. So Neil Fisher now on his forehand. He's got a tighter line than what Mike Bradshaw has, and you'll see that now. It's going to come under the line, shorter weight, slightly shorter weight, but really under the line. Mike Bradshaw, his line was good with his first bowl, just a metre of weight. Endeavour to get inside, draw inside that Neil Fisher bowl on that drawing line. It's on a good line, this bowl of Mike Bradshaw's, as it comes towards that jack. Sits right on top of it on that, coming back towards the centre line. Straight away is converted into 2 shots. And has made Neil Fisher now go to his forehand. And it's really been to date in this match the way how the game management of Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw and their persistency, their very good persistency and consistency of taking green and letting the bowl do the work on the arc towards the jack. And we watch this third bowl of Mike Bradshaw's. Again, it's going to be shorter weight with this one. Always look light out of the hand, and is going to come up about a metre short, half a metre short. So Steve Cox saying to Neil Fisher, you've got about 2 feet to draw, 18 inches. Here's Fisher now on the forehand, with Delaney and Bradshaw holding the shot and leading 2-1 after 3 of the 7 ends here in this final. This is a great attempt here from Neil Fisher. Is it going to get all the way? No, it won't. Just comes up low in this final of the World Indoor Peers Qualifier from the Remuera Bowling Club here in Auckland. So Danny Delaney able to get another bolt, and on the head. He's certainly drawn very, very well throughout this game. I must say, make a note, a couple of other notes at this point. Congratulations to the Southland Bowling Centre, the Southland men's representative side, who, of course, earlier on this year won the. Going to get a touch on the bowlers. Delaney could have made shot of that. The Southland side, who won the Inter-Centre Championships in Wellington earlier on this year, just got awarded the Southland Sports Awards earlier on this week, and the Southland men's bowls team won the Sports Southland Team of the Year. So congratulations to the Southland team on their fine achievement. As we watch now, Steve Cox endeavouring to draw another shot, sits inside the bowl. I'm sure Delaney will force through with a yard of weight. Yeah, it's a call from Michael Bradshaw. Make sure you reach. In other words, play through with a yard of weight, trying to reach through those bowls. It's on a good line. What's it going to connect with? That's one of the Delaney bowls in front. Gets the Delaney bowl. Got the jack. Ran all the way through. Pushed it into the head and made shot of it. Well played. 3 down now. Turned that. He was 2 down. That was Delaney. Now turned it into three shots in favour of the Delaney combination. So Steve Cox trying to play the same sort of shot as Delaney, but under the head with weight. It's what we spoke about before. It's just makes such a difference when you get that bowl away, where the bowl's going to work for you, which Delaney has done so consistently throughout this match. So Danny Delaney now on the backhand, leading 2-1. Won't mind if he gets past the head here. As long as he's over the head, he'll be happy with that, because if Steve Cox is going to play or needs to play with, and in fact rolls into the ditch, and Steve Cox up to have a look at the head, and it's really, you can see he's got to reach up there with weight, push through the bowls, trying to get the jack to those 2 bowls of the 2 whitey coloured light grey bowls of Neil Fisher's, in behind the head. (2-1). Danny Delaney leads and holding 3 shots. It was the call from Neil Fisher. Doesn't want to drop a 3 here after losing the first set by 10 shots to 3. Doesn't want to lose 3 shots here. Put him to 5-1 behind after 4 ends, and he's certainly got to have a lot of work to do from there, and then have a couple of good heads. So Cox back to the mat. The hood's come off. Just the cap now. He'll reach through there with weight on the forehand. And has he gone too wide on that shot? Yes, he has. So not sure, are they, whether it's 2 or 3. Mike Bradshaw having a good look now to see whether it's 3 shots. Out comes the measure. So we'll go to the Bradshaw bowl first, which is directly behind the jack, and then swing the measure around to the Steve Cox bowl.
Can't see the point when I'm down there
Yeah.
touching the jack.
That's my problem here too.
So round now to the yellow bowl of Steve Cox's to decide this 4th end to 7 in the second set. And it looks like the Fisher bowl, and it is. So it was 2 to Danny Delaney and Steve Cox. Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw. They now lead 4-1 after 4 completed ends of 7. After they won that first set by 10 shots to 3. And in the first set, it was Delaney and Bradshaw scoring 2 fours and 2 singles compared to the 2 and the 1 that the Cox and Fisher combination scored. So Delaney and Bradshaw, just looking at the scorecard, have certainly been pretty consistent in their draw. Here's now Mike Bradshaw on the back end, certainly got that away in a narrower line, and it is, and it's going to come up under the line and across the head it will go. You can see 3 parts of the way up the green, just wasn't on that same line that he'd been consistently playing down towards the road end here at Remuera. So Neil Fisher's got this bowl out on a good arc as it comes towards the head now, and will come towards the centre line. Well play, going to run by about a metre, right on in the centre line. Bradshaw now from the Royal Oak Rockets on the back end. Got the wider line with this second bowl as it comes towards the centre line, and the jack now, and he gets the jack again, runs with it, sits right in front of the jack, sits
7 inches behind that.
at 7 inches. Was the call from Steve Cox.
No, it's the guys that
He is now
people out hobby.
Henderson,
We just tournament
the
they sponsored.
good attempt here from
Great weight.
Neil Fisher, got perfect weight to the jack level literally, but just on the wider side. So Bradshaw will stay on that backhand side.
Permanent markers.
Definitely holding the shot is Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney.
This will be dangerous.
And Bradshaw will be endeavouring to get inside on the draw of that last bowl of Neil Fisher's, but he's not going to. But it's going to be over the head, comes back towards the centre line, over the head. Fisher now playing his last bowl on this, the 5th end.
Good looking track.
And it's trying to get to that 7 inches between the blue bowl of Mike Bradshaw's and the jack. This is a good attempt here from Fisher. Needs to get a slide off it, did so. Fall in, might make shot. No indication given by Steve Cox or Danny Delaney as the skips change over on this EN5 of 7. At this World Peers Professional Bowls Association qualifier here at the Remuera Bowling Club in Auckland, where Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw took out the first set by 10 shots to 3. And now leading 4-1. And this bowler Delaney's is going to come up low. Just going to come up lower the jack. Trying to get to this shot bowl as Cox gets the back of the bowl, rolls the jack, which moved it onto the Neil Fisher bowl. Danny Delaney needs 3 feet, was the call from Mike Bradshaw to reach the shot bowl. Leading 4-1 is Delaney. How's this going to be to get towards the jack? Is he going to turn the bowl over? Turned it far enough? No, he didn't. Will still be 1 shot to the... It is 1. Neil Fisher indicating we're still holding the 1 shot. Steve Cox now endeavouring to add to the count. It's on a good line, but how's the weight? It has to get all the way down to this, towards the jack is. Needed a couple of feet. I think you'll see Delaney change his hand and try and play through. Yeah, play through to there's the 2 bowls in the catching pen in behind the head there.
Maybe a little bit more.
So Danny Delaney just asking Mike Bradshaw, what weight do I play? You get down there to the jack. Looks as though it's going to be wide. Needs to get a bit of luck. Doesn't do so. He certainly had the weight to get the result that he wanted. Be 1 down at this point with a bowl to come from Steve Cox.
You're drawing up in there, mate. You give it away, you can back. How far low is that?
Oh, nearly a foot.
So Neil Fisher telling Steve Cox you can play down there safely. Delaney bowls about a foot lower the jack. So he's certainly got this out on that wider line. Needs to be under, and he's going to be close to getting that result, to get under it to the jack. Going to do all but touch the jack. Desperately unlucky. And scores a 1. Does the Steve Cox and Neil Fisher combination. 4-2 after 5 of the 7 ends. Jack's being delivered by Neil Fisher. So that they've shortened the length up. So Fisher now on the forehand in this final of the World Indoor Peers Qualifier from the Remuera Bowling Club. Our pleasure to bring you this on Sky Sport Next, and we'll be back tomorrow afternoon for the singles semi-final and final. So Mike Bradshaw now on his forehand after the first bowl of Neil Fisher's, went about a metre behind the jack. And again, Bradshaw's got the bowl out on that good arc, but I don't think he's got the weight. No, he hasn't. He's going to be a couple of metres short. He won't be happy with that. So Fisher electing now to go to the backhand. Doesn't want to get tangled up on that short bowl of Mike Bradshaw's. And this is going to depend on weight. It's going to need another metre of weight. It's not there. So still a metre for Mike Bradshaw to draw the shot on the backhand side of the ring. Neil Fisher practicing the delivery there without. No, Mike Bradshaw trying to make amends with his second bowl, and looks to be going pretty quick and just ducks by. So the last bowl from Neil Fisher, about 2'6" short. Here's Fisher again now on the backhand, trying to desperately to wrest back this second set to go to a tie break after Delaney and Bradshaw won the first set by 10 shots to 3. Mike Bradshaw is more than likely the 2 most erratic bowls to date he's played in this match. He'll try and make amends here on the backhand. Well, Bradshaw on this, the 16, and he's got a good on that good arc. How's the weight? Going to drop with that weight. Needs to sit on the bowl. No, it doesn't. Sits jack level. His second shot. So as the skips change over on this, the 6th end. Remember, if we go to a tie break, it's a 3-end tie break, and shots don't actually count. It's the ends that. So you have to win 2 ends to 1 to win the tie break. Still a lot of balls to be played yet. Here's now Steve Cox on the backhand, trailing 4-2. And his first bowl on this, the 6th end, holding the shot. He's got this bowl out on that drawing arc, and breaking its way back towards the centre line. Now's a good bowl from Cox. Just going to finish low of the jack. So Delaney quickly into his work, following the bowl of Steve Cox. Might get second shot. May get second shot with it. Finishes literally jack. Yeah, they're just the one now to Cox and Fisher. Again on the backhand is Steve Cox trying to beat his last bowl. And it's on that good arc. That's where they come from. That line it's on. It's on a good draw line. Just how far is this going to run? It gets inside Delaney. Bowl will be shot. And may well be. To see what Mike Bradshaw has to say. May well be 2.
You want to play pitch weight. Through there.
So,
Make
cool.
sure the ball reaches the ditch.
Delaney on the search for the jack on the backhand, playing through the 2 yellow bowls. Trying to get down to the jack. It's going to be wide, not going to get anything. So that would appear on that thought that they are 2 down. So can Steve Cox, that is 2. You just heard Neil Fisher indicate that. So this next bowler, both Fisher, Cox and Delaney, have a big bearing on the outcome of this game. 4-2, Danny Delaney leading. 2 down on the head. It's on the wider side. Won't have the weight, I don't think. It's more than likely a pretty good guide for Danny Delaney to go quicker to those bowls. So here is Danny Delaney endeavouring to draw the shot. Trying to draw the shot is Delaney. Sits inside the bowl and will do so. Superb bowl from Delaney. It was 2 down on the head, 4-2 on the board, would have made it 4-all. And Delaney showing that drawing ability that he's shown right throughout the match. I thought he would have played with reaching weight to try and split through those bowls. But no, he backed himself on the draw on the back end and duly drew the shot. 6 ends gone now, 5-2. That's a big break. It's a 3-shot turnaround on that. The 6th end, the penultimate end, especially after winning the first set, it certainly puts Danny Delaney and Mike Bradshaw into a very strong position in this final of the World Indoor Pairs Qualifier from the Remuera Club here in Auckland. It's been our pleasure to bring you this coverage today via Sky Sport Next. And here's the first bowl of Bradshaw's. Just going to come lower the jack. See it there, just sitting lower that stitch line on the carpet. So, of course, because Delaney and Cox won the first set, if they were to draw this set, it still gives them the win. So, really, the Cox side, the Cox-Fisher side, have to score a 4 on this end to take out the second set by 6 shots to 5. A drawn set is no good to them. So, all the dice at this stage are in favour of the Delaney-Bradshaw combination. And here's Mike Bradshaw. Going to be short. They'll be disappointed with that. They're going to come across the line. So you just heard Steve Cox say you're holding the shot and you're 14 inches higher the jack. So here's now Neil Fisher on his forehand, endeavouring to beat his last bowl. Steve Cox down having a look at the bowl. Needs to get past this bowler. And it does. Sits just alongside Jack level. Imperative here. Second shot required by Mike Bradshaw on the backhand. Definitely 2 shots been held by the Fisher and Cox combination. Gets it, turns his own bowl over. Well played by Mike Bradshaw. Played with that yard of weight. Played through the bowls. Dislodged one of the Fisher and Cox bowls. Just laying 1 shot now and really taking 1 bowl as well right out of the head to make it very difficult to get that big number that they need to score a 4, of course, to win the set, because they have to win the set. And a good bowl, another good bowl from Neil Fisher. Gets a touch on the jack. And they'll be laying 2 shots. A bit of room there though for Danny Delaney. You'll see the jack just moved off the centre line. Danny Delaney will be quite happy if he can draw a second shot with his first bowl and put the pressure then on Steve Cox to try and get that big number. As I said, they need a 4 to go to 6 to win the set. So here's Danny Delaney, former New Zealand player, represented New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games in Delhi in 2010. He's been playing magnificent in this game to date. So watch this first bowl of Delaney's. Needs another metre of running. Gets past the bowl. Sits inside one of the Fisher and Cox bowls. And that's the shot bowl. It makes it very, very difficult now for the Cox and Fisher combination.
He's about a foot low. He's about a foot short.
He's sitting on my white one, yeah. I mean, I reckon he'd be there, he'd pick it up.
So the call from Neil Fisher is
3 bowls, he makes it.
there. Now they're in 2 minds what shot to play. This could be if Cox misses this bowl trying to play a cannon shot onto the front bowls. If he misses this, he can just about pack up, because, well, if he misses this, needs to get a cannon off it. Does, rolls the Delaney bowl in closer, and of course the Cox bowl goes into the ditch, and yeah, that makes it a very challenging task. And Delaney's got the bowl out on that wider draw line. Definitely wants to finish on the other side of the head, and that's exactly what he's going to do, and draw him behind the jack. And it's a really, there we go. Just heard Neil Fisher saying, I just can't see how you get 5, especially as well when you've got 1 bowl on the bank.
One down. That one there.
And, well, one can safely say that there's no 5s there. I'll back the winner. And of course, you can't kill it in this particular format of the game, because if you do drive the bowl and it goes outside the confines, it goes back to the spot. Delaney and Bradshaw right throughout this game really have been convincing in the consistency of their draw. That's really been the big factor.
Mine's about 5 inches off Danny's now. Off Danny. Yeah.
Steve Cox trying to find a shot that's not really there to score a 5, because the chances are he has to play with weight anyway. And there's a chance of losing one of his bowls. So here's Cox now playing to try and move the jack. And to me, this game has all come down to, well, the drawing ability of the Delaney and Bradshaw combination, and the consistency around there taking their green. The draw line has been magnificent. Neil Fisher, he's shaking hands. There's another good bowl coming in from Delaney. He's going to get right down to the jack and a toucher. And I don't know what Steve Cox thinks can do here, can't do anything. So really, it's all over here in the qualifier at the World Indoor Peers Qualifier at the Remuera Bowling Club here in Auckland. And I can tell you that Mike Bradshaw and Danny Delaney of Auckland have defeated Neil Fisher and Steve Cox. They won the first set by 10 shots to 3. They won the second set 7 shots to 2. They've certainly been consistent and been commanding right throughout this semi-final. Earlier on, we saw Bradshaw and Delaney beat Rob Ashton and Linda Ralph in the semi-final. Neil Fisher and Steve Cox, they defeated Lindsay Gilmore and Brian Wilson, and the winners come out as Bradshaw and Delaney, and they'll wing their way now to Dunedin for the New Zealand finals for the PBA Championships to be played for the World Indoors in Dunedin later on in September. But we'll be back here tomorrow. We will be bringing you the World Singles Qualifier here from the Remuera Bowling Club in Auckland. So this is Kevin Hickland signing off.